Hello, slutty.
Hello,
Welcome to Hanging and the Jack.
Ivan.
This episode is called Florida Flips Out. No, actually,
Flips.
is it really the episode name?
It's Florida season 2, episode 14, Florida Flips.
Oh, I didn't. I thought it was being funny, but okay. Yeah. Anyway, Florida Flips Out. So, do I do the summary?
I'll do it, Dre. You did a great job already.
Okay, go ahead.
So this episode starts off, I guess the synopsis is this: Florida's kind of just having some emotional problems or just anger problems, so
Like crisis, maybe?
what was it?
A midlife crisis, maybe?
Yeah, I agree with that. So starts off with I think Michael, he's looking at actually JJ's in bed sleeping, and he's actually no, Michael's at the sitting at the table looking up in the book, and he asked them about what menopause was, and she's like, why are you looking up at menopause? And she's like, well, I think that possibly what maybe is wrong with Florida these days. She's kind of angry, and why would they go back to forth about what little tay about what menopause is, and that why the naming of it, and it should be called sheopause or womanopause or something like that.
Yeah, womanopause.
And and then Thelma, she comments about how testy that Florida's been these days, kind of on edge. She's just been yelling at people, and it's mainly because maybe they feel like the kids aren't doing their job, like JJ, who happens to be sleeping in. She tries to, and JJ's over there smiling, and everybody, the audience laughs because the way his facial expressions are in the bed sleeping. And so Thelma wakes him up, and he's like, oh, why'd you wake me up? Give me 2 more minutes. And he sleeps, and he still makes facial expressions and gets up, and he's mad. And Thelma's like, you should get up, mom's gonna be out here, she's gonna be on. And then JJ's like, oh, you guys don't worry, I'm the perfect mama charmer or something like that. And so he's like, once she's in my hand, she's putty. And so then they're standing there, and then the door kind of, you can hear like a sound effects, which is very
like
terrible.
A thump or
Yeah,
something.
she's trying to get the doorknob open, and she comes out, and JJ says, hello, mama, how you doing? And she's like, with something like, shut up, JJ, or just she totally just cuts him down right away. And Thelma goes in on the kids, and she's like, Thelma, how come this lump of this oatmeal's burning? Thelma's like, I didn't know it was cooking. She's like, you would have known if you wasn't in there trying to pretty yourself up. Wow. And then she gets it on Michael. Hey, Michael, why don't you make the bed up? He's like, okay, I'll do it. I didn't know. She's like, no, you're not doing it. Every time I got to do something. So she's just like, I got to do something. She walks out. She goes out, and she's like, I got to do the laundry. She goes out to the hallway, slam the door. James comes out. He's like, what's all this slamming? And I can't get no sleep and all that. And then he talks about how, he's been dealing with Florida's attitude. Said that she woke him up when he got home at night, talking about she want to talk, and he said that she was snoring, calling hogs. And she woke him up and then said that she didn't want to talk, call hogs. And then JJ comes out, he's dressed, and I think James just tells him to shut up and all that. Then cut to in the hallway, Florida's waiting for the elevator, and she's banging on the elevator door when it comes, and Walona comes out there and says some things and jokes. She's like, oh, I don't, of course Florida's is curt with her as well, and I don't have time for this, and so she keeps banging on there. And I think with this, Walona's like, hey, why don't you come with me to this women's meeting? This be something that we could, it's just something that we can, just something you go, women just getting together and have, talking. And she's like, I'm not going to this women's meeting. The elevator comes and she's like, oh wow, the proud bird. That's funny. Finally makes his appearance. And so she goes in and she's like, hey, you want to come? And Lowe's like, no, I don't, I'll be back. So she goes in, Florida goes downstairs to the laundry. Willona goes in and talks to the family. And she's like, hey, I just noticed, I just talked to Florida. She seems a little bit on edge. And James said, well, it's because she don't have, oh wait, Willona says that, the reason why she's probably so upset is because she don't have nothing to do. And then James says something very sexist and says, I guess, well, she has plenty to do. She's got household chores and things like that. And, Lona's like, that's not fulfilling. She needs to do more. And, maybe you should, I forgot what she did, just be more compassionate and, stuff like that. And Coach James is like, I'm compassionate with her. I have, relations with her. And Willona's like, that's not a way to a woman's heart, obviously, of course.
Mhm.
And so, as long as like, well, whatever, just try to help her if you can. And, the family she goes out. And when she goes out, Florida comes back in and she's like, hey, what are you doing here? And she's like, oh, nothing. And so cut to the next scene. Let's see, I think that's when Florida actually does go to the meetings with Willona. And, the women are talking about their grievances with being a woman, I guess, in the 70s. It seemed like majority of the women that were in that meeting were stay-at-home moms or women that take care of their families and stuff like that. And they had men and saw how the men were threatened by their, just daily, well, according to women in the 2024, just daily things that we want to do, like,
Yeah.
maybe working and possibly making more money, or trying to get the household chores done, and just doing that things, and basically living a life of a woman that's, I guess, traditional maybe, and
Yeah.
that they're trying to navigate their role in the relationships and life, and their man wants them to be sort of like a stepford wife, I guess, and it's kind of impossible. So Florida's just listening, and so she's so funny. Florida's sitting there and she's kind of perplexed, but I'm like, why would you sit there perplexed when that's what you're dealing with? And so you know so Florida, they asked Florida to comment on anything. I forgot to tell you, before that, Florida does come back, and so she gets in an argument with James, and then she slaps Michael. I think Michael I forgot about that part. I'm sorry.
That was the important part.
Why was that
Before,
important?
huh? Well,
What?
I mean, because that's what led to her going to the women's group.
Yeah, that's she slapped Michael when she came back from the laundry room, and Willona leaves. Then she comes back and fusses some more, and then fusses with James, and he's like, "What? Look, I want to know what's going on." She's like, "Look, I don't have time to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you." She gets even more angry, and that's when she slaps Michael.
Yeah.
Then she goes to the women's committee, and then she's trying to with Willona, and just listens to the women's grievances. And so, and the women are they're just talking about, they're not trying to recruit her or anything. They're just basically just
Yeah.
trying to talk about, just vent, I would say, which is nothing. I don't see nothing wrong with that, which is kind of our today's form of going to therapy, I would say, which is a really great idea. So I guess Florida doesn't like that, and she gets mad at the women because when they talk about the topic of slapping Michael, they're like, why did you do that? And then she's like, look, I don't want to talk about it. And she kind of blows up at him and walks out. And okay. So after that, the next thing, then she, I guess they, the family's at home, and then they decide, well, maybe we'll try to help out a little bit more or do something like that. I think, is that right? And then
Yeah.
Florida comes home, and so Florida's in a better mood, and I think by then she kind of maybe she realizes that she has a great, she has a great family, she has a great husband, supportive, so she thinks. And she shows gratitude when she comes in, and she's happier, and she just wants to let everybody know she loves them, and she's just, you know, she's just happy that she's in the family, and so
Yeah.
then somehow it escalates. Go ahead, Dre. Go ahead.
No, yeah, then it escalates because James, when she tells James, oh, I was, at one of those women's meet, those silly women's meet, and James is like, when I look at James' expression, he's like, oh man, like what we over here worrying about you. You've been at those one of those silly women's meeting, you know. Uh and then what? Okay. And then go ahead. I just thought that was funny for that little part.
Yeah, and then he makes he's like, you made it at the women's meeting. He's like, I know
Yeah,
somehow he segues into there's only two places for women, and that's the kitchen and the bedroom.
yeah,
And Florida's just like that, sucks. I can't win in this situation. So she just, I think she just lets him have it. She's like, I'm doing the best I can. I'm trying to raise the kids, and I want to be your wife, and I don't, her main thing is like, I don't want to walk in front of you. I don't want to walk behind you. I just want to walk beside you as your
yeah,
wife and do this together. There's sometimes, I think she's just basically saying there's times where I'm just feeling tired. And so, I think James understands after that. I think he finally listens, obviously. And of course, all's well, and they hug and kiss. And then,
yeah,
so then I think the last scene is Thelma and Florida are on the couch, and James are looking at they're looking at a book for night school, like a catalog,
yeah,
I guess, for classes for night school.
yeah.
And she's looking and thinking about, hey, what classes I would like to take. And James is there, and he's like, I knew how a class you could take women economics, and of course is joking, and the credits roll. But it's kind of good that she is trying to, go to school, which that'll become later. But anyway, so basically, some notable things before we get started into our opinion. The lady in the women's awareness meeting that they had, the one that's leading it, actually in real life, her name is Rosanna Carter. That is Esther Roll's sister. Also Helen Martin, who is a
Yeah.
iconic actress. She's in a lot of stuff. 227. She was in Hollywood Shuffle. She was in Friday, was she? I think she was in Friday.
I was in Friday.
Yeah, I think she was. Oh no, she wasn't.
I think she was in Friday, I think.
She's very iconic. I mean, Helen Martin. Oh, she's known as Weeping Wanda in the Good Times series. So her character is reoccurring. So, and I think she was also in Sanford and Son as well. So she's pretty iconic actress. Oh, not yeah. So Andrea, uh what are your thoughts on this episode?
Uh, I I like the episode. Um, I like the episode because what?
You putting your glasses on for you because you
Yeah,
no, you can put
I
your glasses on to make you smarter.
I like the episode.
You liked it.
I liked it because I mean it it I guess it shows, you know, I mean, yeah, it just shows that even I mean, not just Black women, just all women, they go through this phase, or like men go through it as well, like a middle age crisis or whatever. That's how I see it, kind of. It's like she's feeling, and she probably, yeah, I don't know if it was, this is good for her. I guess at that time it's good for her to go and talk with the women, but I'm not sure about talking with those those women. I don't know.
Right? How come?
I don't know. I guess it's mm, the first. Well, I don't know. It's. I'm not saying that they might seem gossipy or something, or um maybe not, but I don't know.
I think it's because you probably wouldn't trust your information with just anybody.
with just anybody. Like I probably wouldn't have shared that I hit Michael. I probably wouldn't do that. I probably would have just said, I'm a little bit, you know, not overwhelmed, but just not satisfied with my life. Sometimes I might have expressed it differently. I'm just not satisfied sometimes with how my life is, or something. And it could be something like that, and you get like that. Like you're not happy every single day. It might be something that, you just feel like a little bit down. It's up to that person, each person, how long do you want to feel that way? You want to change it, or you want to just keep feeling it, or are you just going to push through it and just, hey, I don't know. But anyway, that's getting way off something. But I like it. I like this episode because, yeah, I mean, it shows, like, I mean, Black women don't have to be the strong, you know that keeps it all together. You're gonna have the breakdown or whatever. You're gonna have a breakdown. And it's like she had a breakdown. She probably, got up one morning and, like, Lee, do I have to get up every day in the ghetto every single day? Is this gonna be my life? She might look at James and be like, oh God, I gotta stay with this man the rest of my life. As much as she loved, I mean, it's just a moment. It's just a moment. You might feel like that. You might feel like, and then she might look at the kids as like, how long do I have to take care of these kids? Like, they're old enough to take care of themselves. But, like, I don't feel like doing this. Like, she just probably woke up and say, I don't feel like doing none of this. That's
Mm-hmm.
probably how and it kind of boiled over, or, you know, and and then too, she didn't really have that much to do, like, for real. Like, I mean, you have Thelma. Like, you have Thelma that's old enough to try to help you out, but she doesn't give you any back talk. So she goes and she might not do a great job at it, but she goes ahead and does it. Uh, it's like you don't have to really watch over your kids as much. You do the laundry, you do your laundry. That can spread out over, I don't know, a couple of hours a day, I don't, or every other day. Uh, 'Cause, I mean, she has stuff to do, but not really. Just like Walona said, she had to spread out. She had to, like, stretch what she has to do out into a long 8-hour day. Are you,
What's
you
wait?
are you gonna spend 8 hours doing laundry every day? No, you ain't got. They ain't got that many clothes. They got, what they they got like 2, 3 outfits each. So I mean, I don't know. I like the episode. I mean, it wasn't it's another episode that wasn't too Debbie Downer to me. To me, it wasn't like a Debbie Downer. It was just like, you know, James had his frustration. Now it's Florida's. Like it just because she's a housewife, it doesn't mean that she doesn't have maybe the frustrations or stress, maybe not all the stress, but I mean, it's the stress of like thinking, damn, I'm in the ghetto. Like I'm living in the project. It's gonna be my life for the rest of the life. I don't know. That's not stress, but that's just like, eh, you know. And then she's there by herself. Like the kids are at school. James is working. She's there by herself. You don't know what kind of thoughts that, goes through her. She has a lot of time to think to herself. I don't know. Just like the episode.
Basically, the historical factor is that basically it seems like this is like what the early 70s. Women's liberation probably is, the 60s, at least for white women, just, was sexual liberation, women's liberation, all that happened in the 60s. Now it's, Martin Luther King passed away, 68. That's what, 7 years prior. Black people are, things are kind of opening up for us. We were able to do a lot more. So yeah, that's probably the frustration. So she's probably saying that a lot more women are becoming more liberal, I guess. They're becoming, they're able to do more. So the old constructs of, staying at home and being a home mom could be getting to her. She's probably saying that a lot more women are more able to do well. One case in point, Willona, she's single woman. She doesn't have to have a man, because if in this 50s and 60s, she probably most likely had to be married, or it was your thought, it wasn't a requirement, but it was like, that was what was like the societal norm. So rules for women were starting to break down in the 70s, and for Black women. So basically this is where the women live comes in. So people couldn't handle it, because when in the 80s, by the time the 80s came around, women were already liberated. They were working, women were single, they were taking care of the stuff. Like, I mean, the comparison between Florida Evans and Claire Huxtable is very vast. I mean, of course they are strong women, but Claire was already a lawyer. I mean, of course she had her husband and stuff like that. And Claire was the one was actually telling her husband what to do. So there's such a vast difference. But if you look at all the women that, I mean, in reality and on TV, those women were in the 80s, they were already liberated and they were already doing what they want to do. The women in the 70s, there was some kind of conflict, usually, except for maybe even Weezy Jefferson, who had all the money she wanted. She still was under George's thumb just a little, because George had, he was the head of the household.
But she did find something else to do.
Yes, but she could have gone a little bit further. She had all the money. She could have gotten, Louise Jefferson could have gone to school. She could have gotten a degree. All she did was work at the help center. Not that that's wrong. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, the help center.
She could have done a lot more. She could have, I mean, with all that money, she could have gone back to school and become a lawyer and or mayor of New York, because she had a lot of influence. I'm sure George probably would have done that first, but she could have had a lot of influence with that money. And I think if Florida would have had that money, she probably would do the same, which we'll probably see later on. But that's where I think that's where I see the conflict on that. Is like, you have this conflict of trying to be a mother, but also the liberated. And you've got Willona on this side, and you got your family on this side. And so Florida's just like, wow, I want to go over there and do what I want to do, but I got my family, but I still love them. I want to be able to do all these things. So,
but she has to realize that Well, she has to realize that her family is grown. Like they can pretty much take care of themselves. So if you want to do something, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. I mean, I know you're going to get a little pushback from James. He'll get over it. Go ahead and do it
I think
because that'll be something. That'll be something for her. She doesn't. To me, I felt like she didn't have anything. She didn't have nothing to look forward to, but to get up, do housework, and that's it. Get up, do housework, and that's it. She
yeah.
needed something. She needed something to look forward to, something more that she said later in the episode. There's got to be something more than my husband and my kids. You
And
know.
then I think I hear a lot of stories from people who grew up in single family homes and stuff, like with single mothers and stuff like that, and like rappers and stuff. I'll go for that. I'm not trying to stereotype or anything like that, but this is kind of parallel to that, like in a low income housing, and where there's no father usually, and then the mother works. Most of those kids had to do for their own, and this is in the 70s and 80s. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's the thing, is that I think this is where the Hollywood got it wrong. Is like, if it was a Black family, I've known a lot of Black kids, whether they grew up in the inner city or not, they had to do chores, and they were like, you guys are going to clean the house and you're going to do that. So this is kind of the storyline's kind of off a little bit, because those kids would have been cleaning the house by the
Mm-hmm.
time they were 10 years old, and Florida wouldn't have to do anything, because the kids would have been, so that the storyline's a little bit archaic and whitewashed, because
Yeah.
this is kind of Brady Bunch, where you have, the mothers doing everything. The mothers in the Black family, the kids definitely they know how to do chores, and especially the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and the 80s too.
Yeah.
The kids were definitely doing the chores. I mean, I think I talked to many of people, and Black people, and you can't, I mean, they will tell you that they had something to do, or they had to clean the whole house or something like that. Wow. So yeah, that's probably, I think the white writers didn't know that kids actually do chores, and whoever the writers were didn't have their kids doing chores, probably. But anyway, yeah, the kids, if the kids were doing the chores, I think maybe this would be different. But I actually, not that much. I think if the kids were doing the chores in Florida, what would Florida be doing? She would be bored. She probably would,
Be bored. She would.
she'd still be frustrated or something.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, on the other side of that coin, I get it, because Black women, I think it still like shows the frustration of Black women, which I think it's a great thing, because sometimes we do get frustrated. Sometimes we have to carry everything. We have to be silent. We have to not say, we can't complain. We can't be the damsel in distress at all,
Yeah.
and just be strong. And then sometimes, you know, a lot of Black women have, not to bring the mood down. It's just sometimes Black women don't, I've seen a lot of Black women, live shorter lives because of the stress and the dread and the not speaking. That's why that women's group is so great, because it helps you get everything out. It helps. It's a part of. It's not just mental healing; it's physical healing. So, that's the dilemma that Black women are probably dealing with these days. Not so much. I see it more on social media, but these days, you know, mental health is really at the forefront. So we have things to help us. But then there's times where we're by, they say there's a theme that Black women are the most unprotected. And so, however, we hopefully will, with that, Black women can find ways to help ourselves, help, whatever. So other than that, yeah, it was a good episode. I think the things I didn't understand is that, why she yell at the women? Why she yell at them? It's like
because I mean, probably because she's not comfortable. She might not be comfortable sharing her what she maybe she thought what she was feeling was maybe wrong or not. I don't know. She just wasn't comfortable sharing her thoughts or her frustrations to really total strangers. So
yeah. I think the another thing too is let's see, Walona's dressed cute. That's all I can say. I know that's sexist, but anyway, she's dressed cute. But
I see the whole episode, so I don't even know what the fashion.
yeah, and but I there's some notes that our executive producer brought up is like some of the stuff that James says was sexist and that he said in front of the kids, and I'm like, yeah, that's not good. Some of the stuff that he says this episode didn't age well, like grabbing her arm
Yeah,
and saying some stuff like next thing you
yeah,
didn't want to do is go to
he
school.
put her in her place.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, that's if that was seen today that way, it's hopefully people who do see it now today and in the future kind of understand that this was the 70s. If this was done in the 50s, it would be a total different episode. I tell you that one thing.
Yeah,
But I think it's a good one just to show. I'm glad that they showed James with him being upset. Now they show Florida. They showed two different frustrations of
yeah,
people going through. So I guess that's the positive thing. I really like the women's group. I just think that's a great idea. And other than that, I think Walona's part, I think, it's great that you have a friend that cares about you. I think Walona should have just been like, okay, I'm gonna help my friend and I'm just gonna like take her on a shopping spree or something. That would have helped her. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I don't know, it's kind of girly but hey, that's what girls I guess I would do that with my friend, I guess. Be like, oh, my friend's sad. Let me take her to a New Edition concert. I don't know.
oh Lord.
I don't know. Or to a club or something.
Sure.
Yeah. So I give it a thumbs up.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else. I'm sure there's little things that were in there that I didn't see, but it's a great one. Good episode, cute. It just this is season 2, so it only the storylines get a little bit better, of course. I think so.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it.
And
What else?
I think at the end, I like that she's looking at school. She's looking at things to go to school. I think the thing that they should have done instead of the end, they should have had her dole out chores to those kids because they freaking all they're able enough to do it. I mean,
Pretty sure. Yeah.
I mean, Thelma should be the only one that has chores like cooking and stuff. It should be, JJ, Michael and JJ, they should be doing stuff too as well. But
Yeah.
and definitely Michael and JJ. I mean, I think in the later ones they start doing chores. So, but yeah, I mean, and James can do stuff for himself too. He's not, I mean, I know he works hard and you want to support your man, but still can do stuff. I mean, I guess we can let people know to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. And what about you have like what are you doing?
Like and subscribe.
No, like and subscribe below.
Also go to our store for merch. I can't make anything up there. I would make what I should make as a woman awareness shirt. That's a good idea.
Woman awareness shirt.
That's the name of the meeting that she went to.
Oh, I forgot that's what it was called.
Yeah, it was, yeah. So yeah, get the woman awareness shirt. I'll make that. Huh?
I like this episode.
You like it because you're a girl. Anyway, all right, Dre.
Okay, thank you for joining us for another episode of
Hanging.
Dive
Dive
in the Chat.
Take it in a shot.